And we're really pleased to have our Chef Reema with us today. So really thankful to Reema for agreeing to share some really lovely recipes with us. So I'm going to hand you over now, and we'll spotlight Reema for you guys. So hi Reema, so I'll hand it over to you.
Hi everyone, it's so great to have you here. And so we will do a little tasting class today, and we will try to understand what the different tastes are, like sweet, sour, salty, umami, spicy. We can start with like a little video, and then when you see the video, just think in your heads like what you understand, the different foods you eat, how do you relate to these flavors. Then we'll go ahead and we'll make a few sauces and dips, and we'll make them together, but we'll taste them at the end of the class. And then when you taste, you can just put in the chat box or just say what the tastes or the flavors are, and try to think just what is it that I'm eating, what's the texture, what's the smell, what's the sound, so let's go ahead, Claire, we can show them the video.
Today, we're going to learn about the sense of taste. Have you noticed how salty this popcorn is? Or how sour this lemon is? Why do foods taste differently? All this is possible thanks to the sense of taste. The sense of taste allows us to identify and learn how foods taste. The tongue is the sensory organ responsible for tasting. The tongue is covered with bumps called taste buds, also known as papillae, in charge of collecting information about different tastes and send it to the brain through the taste nerves. There are different types of taste buds grouped in separate parts of the tongue. The basic tastes that taste buds are able to identify are 5: sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and umami. That's it, you heard it right. Umami is the word we use to refer to incredibly delicious foods. The taste buds for sweet are on the tip of the tongue. The salt buds are on either side of the tongue. And the bitter taste buds are in the center of the back of the tongue, near the throat. The umami buds are in the middle of the tongue. The sour buds are located on either side and lower part of the tongue. There are many hints of flavors and savors produced by combining these 5 basic tastes. Did you know that the sense of taste and hearing communicate? That's why when we have a cold, food doesn't taste as good as it normally does. How interesting, right? Imagine eating this fruit. When we put it in our mouth, chemical substances in the apple communicate with the taste buds on the tongue. The taste buds transmit this information to the brain through the taste nerves. The brain is in charge of recognizing the type of taste and decide whether we like what we're tasting or not. Yum, this apple is so sweet. I love it. Yikes, this lemon is so sour. I don't like it at all. We experience tastes differently. That's why, even though one group of people may like the same food, another totally dislikes it. The sense of taste also helps to protect our health from foods that have gone bad. If these foods don't taste right, our brain will send signals to stop eating them. The sense of taste is amazing and essential for life. Don't you think so?
Did you like the video? We have so many.
Okay, I hope you guys liked it. And that was just like a basic intro to the taste. So we start with making the tomato sauce. So the tomato sauce originated in Mexico, and it's usually very simple. So like sometimes tomato sauce is like ketchup in the US, but a traditional tomato sauce would just be like chopped tomatoes, some onion, garlic, and you put it in a pot and just cook it for like 15-20 minutes, salt, pepper, sugar, and that's it. So what we will start with is like, if you have a pot or a pan, just put it on your hob or induction. We will go for a very simple version. We will just make with the chopped tomatoes and any herb that you have. So we put the chopped tomatoes into the pan or pot and allow it to come to a boil, and we let it simmer for like, 15 minutes approximately. And then we'll add whatever we want to add after that, like salt, pepper, herbs, sugar. So I'm gonna let this sit and let you guys do that as well. Just pop it in, leave it there. If you want to cover it so it doesn't splatter, you can do that. But just, give it a stir a couple of times if you need to. But that's it. That's as simple as that. If you have more time at home, start with like a drizzle of oil, chop some onion and garlic, and then let that like fry for a few minutes, and then put in your tomato, like actual chopped tomato. Like you don't need to use a tin, and especially like when we can grow tomatoes in our garden, like just use those delicious ones, like the really ripe ones. They're sweet. You don't even need to add sugar after that. So yeah, this is simmering, as you can see. I hope that the ones in your class have started like coming to a boil at the moment. For the people who don't have an induction or a microwave, the one we can make is like a vinaigrette. So vinaigrette is like a basic salad dressing, and you just need olive oil and anything citrus. So it could be lemon juice, it could be vinegar like balsamic vinegar, red wine vinegar, or just plain vinegar. And the ratio is 1:3. So 1 part of the citrus, like a vinegar or lemon juice, and 3 parts of oil. Olive oil is great to use because of the flavor, and extra virgin olive oil, which is like the first press of the olive grapes, of the olive fruit, that is the purest form and the best to use for a salad. So I'm going to start with a bowl and a fork. If you have a whisk, even better. And you can just measure with a spoon. But if you have measuring spoons, then maybe just go for 10 ml of vinegar and 30 ml of olive oil. But we will put the olive oil slowly, like we will drizzle it in slowly as we whisk it to create an emulsion. So an emulsion is like it binds a non-soluble and a soluble liquid. So an olive oil will mix with a water-based vinegar. So it'll look curdled if you don't whisk it, quickly, and pour the olive oil slowly. So I'm gonna just show it to you. And if there are any questions, just pop it in the chat box. So I have a red wine vinegar and I have balsamic vinegar. So maybe I'll just use the balsamic vinegar. And a spoon, 2 spoons, 3 spoons. If I have 3 spoons of the vinegar, I'm going to use into 3 times, so 9 spoons of the oil. I'll start slowly with 1 spoon. You can also add your seasoning now, just like a dash of salt and pepper. You can add that at the end of making the dressing as well, because you would need to season to taste anyways then. So we just like whisk it really firmly. The other really easy method to do this is put everything in a jar, like the whole oil and vinegar, and just shake it, close it and shake it. Like shake it and it just forms an emulsion automatically. You generally don't need to measure it, like you could just pour it slowly and whisk it till it forms an emulsion, but I'm using this measurement so that we are doing it together accurately. As you can see, it's slowly forming an emulsion. And that's the last one. Okay, I'm giving it a good shake. My hands are already paining. Look at this. That is so nice. I mean, it's just like it's formed an emulsion. We're not going to taste anything now. We're going to taste it together at the end. But it's kind of become thicker if you see. It's not like, you know, the thin consistency that we saw in the olive oil or the vinegar. If this kind of settles down at the end, we can just whisk it again, like vigorously later. And we just, after this, can put in any herbs we want, like whatever we have. So I was thinking of adding like a mix of herbs that I have here. It's just like some oregano and basil and sage. And I'm gonna just flavor this. You could just put chives in, or even just some chopped up thyme or whatever you have in your garden or in your fridge. Okay, so that's done, the vinaigrette. Don't forget to have a look at your tomato sauce. If it's sticking, like mine is at the bottom, just give it a stir. Okay. Now we are gonna go ahead and make crudités. I don't know if you know what crudités are. Crudités are like matchsticks, and they are used in vegetable platters and salads, just for a dip, or like the matchstick cuts of vegetables. You can use celery, cucumber, carrot, you know, whatever you have in the house that is ready to eat. I will start with the cucumber, and we will just trim off the edges. And cut the cucumber into finger size sticks like this. So just this much. And then you can go ahead, Now have a look at this before you cut the rest of the cucumber. Cut this into half. And then the rest into matchstick size. So that's it. Like that's a perfect size. If you want it to be thinner, you can go make this into half as well and cut into matchstick size. Now we do it with the rest of the cucumber. Again, just the size of your finger. You can cut into one half and then another half, depending on how thick your cucumber is, and cut this into steaks. Very simple. It's very important to be careful with the knife. So I'm going to show that with the carrot as well, but remember that we always use a bear claw, and the knife is always, this part of the knife is always hitting this part of the finger so that you don't chop off your or hurt yourself. Yeah, you can put these in a platter if you like. Don't forget to stir the tomato sauce. We finished cutting off the rest of the cucumber. Cucumber is a great summer vegetable because it has a lot of water content in it. So it keeps your body cool. And I think we're gonna have a pretty hot summer this time. Same like last time, but yeah. So in the tomato sauce, let's add some herbs, yeah? So I have fresh basil here. I'm just gonna tear it up. I don't need to use a knife, I can just tear it up. I'll leave the stalks out. Add salt. And I'm gonna add pepper. What I like to do is add a small teaspoon of, like half a teaspoon of sugar. Can be just brown sugar, white sugar, whatever you have in the house. If your tomatoes are really sweet, like the really ripe ones, you don't need sugar, but the sugar kind of has this ability to really enhance the sourness in this dish. It is a nice balance, you know. So we're gonna let that just cook for a bit more, maybe another 10 minutes. And if it's getting too dry or sticking to your pan, you can add a dash of water in there and give it a quick stir. You're gonna go ahead and make the carrot matchsticks. You could just give them a good wash and not peel them and cut them and use it, because like peels are good roughage. Like if it's clean, it's good fiber for your body. But if you would like to peel it, just make sure that you are holding the blade of the peeler away from your fingers, or you could just put it on the chopping board and peel it the other way. I usually peel it and then I trim the ends because it just means that it's easier to leave a little bit on the top where I'm holding for the peeling. I don't need to like peel, onto my finger. And then I just trim the edge. And then same concept, like we just use our finger, and here it's just half, we can just half the carrot. And again, be very careful with the knife, bear claw, half the carrot here again, same like the cucumber, but be very careful because the carrot is harder, and just do it slowly so it doesn't slip. And then we can just cut this into sticks again. You can hold like this, the carrot from the top of the knife, and just cut in half. We could do this with the other carrot as well. Let me know if I'm going too quickly. I could, and if I need to show something or repeat something again. So we peel this again, and I usually would prefer to do like this, but I think this is a better option, and again, safety first. Whatever trimmings we get, we can always use it to make like a soup later. It's great for a vegetable soup, any vegetable trimmings. So here we do this again. We cut this into half. We put the knife here. We put our hand over the knife and hold the carrot steadily in place and cut into half. So here we have our cruets, we have the cucumber and carrot cruets. So we are going to use this to dip into the sauces that we make later. And we are also going to use the nachos for the same. Don't eat them now, okay? Okay, next we are going to make a nice ginger soy dip. And for that, we will start with peeling a little bit of ginger. So we don't need all this, yeah? I mean, we need like literally just a small teaspoon grated. So even this much, you can just peel it, or you can use a knife to peel it, but I use a peeler because it's just, safer and also does not take out all the flesh of the ginger.
Reema, can you use ginger peel for anything, or would that just go in the compost bin?
The ginger peel, very good, Claire, for asking that, because the compost bin is perfect for all the trimmings, but the ginger peel ideally is not used in a vegetable stock because of its strong flavor, so we would just put it in the compost bin.
Okay, thanks.
I'm adding a splash of water to my tomato sauce. just got it sticking. Can you smell the tomato sauce? Like, can you smell the sweet basil and the sour tomato? The funny thing about tomatoes is that the more you cook it, the darker the color gets. And like you can almost smell that it's getting cooked slowly, like this really nice, robust flavor. I have a really big pan for the sauce, but you could use a smaller pot or a smaller pan or more tomatoes, whatever be the case. Okay, now we will grate this ginger. I have one of these. You could have the smaller ones as well. And I'm going to use the smaller blade for it. And be very careful, like with your fingertips, we do not want them to be grated and get hurt, okay? So we hold one edge of the ginger and we are going to grate it slowly. Look at that. You can leave this out, like you can chop it with the knife and use it, but like it would be better not to like hurt yourself, yeah? So I have the ginger here, and I'm going to add soy sauce to it. Let's measure it, okay? That's about 1 teaspoon ginger. And we have 2 tablespoons soy sauce. If it's a bigger class, like you can probably make this into 2 times. So that would be 2 teaspoon ginger and 4 tablespoon soy sauce. I'm going to add another equal amount of water. So that's going to be 2 tablespoons. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. I would prefer brown sugar here, but white sugar is also okay. And give it a stir. While that's in there, I'm going to chop the scallion slowly. So we would usually wash it nicely to remove any grime. And we're going to trim the top of the scallion. Same bear claw method. And we're going to slice it really thinly, okay?
Reema, can I ask, should they be using dark soy sauce or light soy sauce, or is there a preference?
Oh, very good question. Yes. So if we use dark soy sauce, then we should be using more water, like at least a tablespoon more water, because like the flavor is intense. But if it's a light soy sauce, then a 1:1 ratio of the water and the soy is fine. And the ginger and the scallion really, and the sugar is to taste. So like, don't worry about measurements here, because it's more about what you feel you like the taste of. Yeah.
So we've just had another class join in just now. So at the moment, could you maybe, Reema, just say what you've put in this sauce at the moment? If they
Yeah.
want to just catch up on this one, could you just briefly explain what you put in?
Yeah, this one is just sweet ginger soy sauce. We can grate a tiny bit of ginger, like a teaspoon of grated ginger, put it in a bowl. Then we add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and 2 tablespoons of water. And then we are slicing some scallions. And we added a teaspoon of sugar.
Thanks, Reema. I'm putting that in the chat now as well, if that's possible.
I hope someone is watching our tomato sauce, the other school, because mine is almost done. Okay, I am just going to add the scallions into the sweet ginger cider. I have a lot of scallions, so I'm going to increase the amount of soy. So I'm going to make it double for myself. So I'll add another 2 tablespoons of soy, 2 tablespoons of water, and a teaspoon of brown sugar. I'm going to give it a good mix. And then I'm going to allow it to sit on the side for a while. The next thing I'm going to make is with the creme fraiche and chili flake. So I have a little tub here with, say, 1/3 tub of, so this is like 200 ml, 1/3 tub of creme fraiche. If you're a bigger class, you can just use more of it. That's not a problem at all. Now I have some chili flakes. So these are basically dried chili, dehydrated version, and you can add as much chili flake as you like into the creme fraiche. Be careful, it's hot. So I prefer spicy, so I'm gonna put the whole thing in it, and I'm gonna season it to taste with some salt and peppers. And just give it a good mix. This is about like a gram of chili flakes. But because it's dried and because it's, the moisture is removed from it, it's dehydrated. It's really, really hot. And again, it depends. Like, so chilies really depends. Like if some chilies have a higher Scoville content, like for example, they can be really intense, whereas some chilies are not that intense. So it depends. Like I know one of the spiciest chilies is got this weird name in my country. It's called Bhut Jolokia, and it's one of the spiciest chilies in the world. And like I would start crying if I had it. And I know even in countries like Mexico, they have so many spicy chilies. So if you don't like the heat, I would suggest that you don't taste this. Make it, sure, but don't taste it. Or maybe if you dare to taste it, do it.
Have you ever tried that very spicy chili that you mentioned, Reema?
So I only tried it as a condiment, so it was kind of mixed with like other like things like molasses and herbs and stuff. But it was so spicy, like I couldn't stop crying. It was so bad. And I think in general, my level of spice is okay. It's not very high, but yeah. Okay, then we are gonna go next to, okay, how is the tomato sauce looking? I mean, it looks great for me. I'd say it is ready. We could either leave it in the pot or put it in a separate bowl. Make sure to turn off the hob or induction. I'm going to go straight now into my favorite part, which is melting chocolate. Even my cat wants to melt chocolate, apparently. Okay, so for those of you who have a microwave, we're gonna use a glass bowl that's microwave proof to melt the chocolate. And make sure that the bowl has no water in it, because water tends to seize the chocolate. When I say seize, it means that water is like an enemy of chocolate, and it kind of just like this. So when it melts, if there's water in it, it'll just kind of become this hard, solid rock thing, and it'll burn. It'll not melt because it's kind of mixed with the fat molecules in the chocolate. So, okay. I have a setup here for a double boiler. So for those of you who don't have a microwave, can use a double boiler. And so that's a heat-proof bowl on a pot with some water in it. And this bowl should not touch the base of the pot, because we want the chocolate to melt really, really in a low temperature, because high heat again is going to just burn it and not melt it properly. So we place this on boiling water. I already had boiling water in the pot, so you can just place a pot on your induction and let it come to boil. Place this glass-proof bowl on the water. Make sure that the base is not touching. So I've kind of put something at the bottom so it doesn't touch the base of the pot. I think the important thing is to kind of make sure that you break the chocolate into small pieces. This is my other bowl that I'm using for the microwave. So whichever you prefer, like you could use the microwave or the induction or a hob or whatever you have. Now, I've asked for dark chocolate for a reason. And when we taste this chocolate, we'll understand it. The dark chocolate why is it dark? Like, not just because of the color, well, because of the color, but dark chocolate is different from milk chocolate and white chocolate because it has cocoa mass, which is 50% of the whole chocolate. So if there is cocoa percentage in the chocolate, which is between 50 to 90%, it's dark. If it's like around, 30 to 45%, it's milk chocolate because there's an addition of milk solids in it. And white chocolate is technically, well, it's my least favorite. It has no cacao solids in it. I mean, it's more like just sugar and milk solids and lecithin. So, and vanilla. So dark chocolate is kind of the healthier version as well. But I know that it can taste really bitter. Now I'm giving away the flavor here, obviously, but it kind of hits you at the back of your throat. It's bitter because of the cocoa percentage in it. So a 50% dark chocolate will actually taste less bitter than a 90% dark chocolate because a 90% dark chocolate is mostly the cacao. So cacao is like, I don't know if you guys have seen, it's this fruit which is grown in all the chocolate growing regions, and it's got the flesh and the nibs and everything in it. It's fermented, roasted, and then we get like this whole cacao mass, cocoa butter, and that's how that's how chocolate is made, like with the cocoa mass and cocoa butter, and it's like kind of mixed together for hours and hours till you get this really shiny, glossy liquid. And that liquid is then set into like bars, or it's set into like, eggs for Easter eggs, or even just drops, like the chocolate drops. So it's all like shaping and molding after the chocolate has been made. So it's actually liquid version before it comes to us. And we are kind of going back to the liquid version again. So the easiest way to do this is to use chocolate chips, because they're like really tiny. You don't need to break it up. But I have the bars, and if you have them as well, like just break it up into small pieces, as small as possible. So it'll be like quicker to melt, and evenly it's gonna melt, yeah? I would be curious to know what your favorite chocolates are. Because there's so many across the world. We have a company called Dairy Milk where I come from, and it's mostly milk chocolate. I mean, and they make really nice flavored chocolates as well. Like they'll put nuts, they'll put Oreo biscuits, or they'll put like these raisins, and it's really, really nice. Okay, so I have chopped, kind of, you can chop it as well, but I'm just breaking it up. And the trick here is to do it in bursts of low temperature, low time in the microwave. So I'm going to put it the first time for a minute, and then I'm going to put it back again for 30 seconds each till it melts. But make sure that you don't do it for more than a minute the first time. And for the people who are doing it in the induction or hob, so apologies, my chocolate is already melted here because this does not work on this, but it's the concept, So you boil a pot of water, you have a dish, ideally a glass dish. Make sure the dish is clean, there's no water in there, otherwise your chocolate seizes. Then you put the broken chocolate in it. Ideally, the best thing to use is this, a spatula, not a spoon, because like steel kind of tends to retain some moisture, and that's not great for the chocolate, you know. Remember, chocolate and water are enemies. They are not friends. Okay, so we can just boil this water in your glass and then put the broken chocolate into a glass heavy bottom bowl and allow the chocolate to melt. Now, the one in the microwave, now look, it's been a minute and I'm going to take it out. I'm sure you heard the ding. Look at this. So it's kind of slowly melted, but we're going to put it back for another 30 seconds again. 30 seconds now. I mean, you can feel the temperature of the bowl. It's quite warm. We don't want to burn it. Like, this is the part you need to be really careful, because too much high heat is just going to like dry up the chocolate, if you know what I mean, you know, and then it just burns. Okay. That was quick. Also, because of the large amount of cocoa solids in it, the higher amount of cocoa solids, the easier it is for your chocolate to burn. So just remember, because the amount of moisture in there is less than a white chocolate. That's the last 30 seconds I'm going to put it in. It depends what stage you are at with your chocolate and the amount of chocolate you have, of course. If it's a lot, it's going to be a couple of 30 seconds in the microwave and a little bit longer on the hob or induction. But patience goes a long way, and then you get this beautiful melted chocolate. And if you ever become a chocolatier or a pastry chef, you will understand that this is the perfect melted chocolate for tempering, making chocolate garnishes. And if it becomes too heated, it loses the shine. Can you see the shine? It'll just lose the shine. It's gonna die. Be careful though. Bowl is hot. Even keep it for like 20 seconds in the last few times, just to be sure that you're not burning the chocolate. Mine is like melted perfectly. Okay, now we've made everything. I don't know if you can see, we have the marshmallow, we have the chocolate melted, we have the sweet ginger soy, and we have the tomato sauce, and we have the vinaigrette. And we also have the creme fraiche. Oh, we made a lot of things. Now I don't have place to put it. I hope you have more space than me anyways. Okay, so shall we do this? I also have nachos, you know, the corn chips, and I have strawberries. I'm sure you have them. So you can use the strawberries for the chocolate. You can use the nachos and the carrot and cucumber for any of the other sauces, okay? We have the 5 flavors, which is on our taste buds. We have the sweet, sour, salty, spicy, umami. So when you taste this vinaigrette salad dressing, what flavor is your brain saying? Like what are those, you know, tasting nerves that's going to the brain saying, do you like it? What taste are you getting? I'm getting this really sour taste, and especially in the sides of my tongue, because that's where the sour taste buds are. So you can taste the whole sour thing in your tongue, but in the two sides of it, you'll see it's enhanced because that's where the taste buds are. Yeah. Even if you just pick up a carrot, dip it in the vinaigrette, and put it in the two sides of your tongue, you're like, oh my god, that's so sour. You may not even like it, Just okay. Now we go to the next one. We'll do the ginger soy dip, and you could do this with a nacho or a carrot or a cucumber. It's up to you. I'm gonna give it a go. Don't have too much of it, okay? Because this is strong. Give it a good stir before you dip in your fruits or chips. If any of you are having the chips, just think about the sound that your mouth is making when you're biting into the crisp, crunchy texture of the chips. Like it's already telling my brain, like a lot of the fast foods, like if you know, why do you like them? They just have this sound, smell, texture, all blending together and tell your brain that they want it. You want that chips, or you want that fries, or you want that popcorn. So what flavor are we getting with this? This is easy because even the chips have a bit of that flavor in them. Okay, so this one is the sweet ginger soy sauce, and the flavor that we are getting is salty and sweet both. But if you're using a really dark soy, like Rob mentioned before, it's going to be very, very strong. So soy sauce is basically fermented soybeans, and it's got this extremely salty umami flavor as well. So it's got umami flavor as well. Now, umami is like we saw in the video too. It's like this meaty flavor which you get from even broths, cheeses, anything that's fermented. Like it's just this whole-bodied, rounded flavor, that just makes you feel good. And if you can't put your finger to a flavor and be like, oh my god, this is amazing, but I don't know whether it's sweet, sour, salty, bitter, then it's umami. That's the fifth secret one. Yeah. I'm gonna actually ask you to taste if you have it, the Parmesan cheese. That's also umami. So just like eat it the way it is, and you will feel the same burst of flavor. It's not that all these flavors are separate of each other. They all come into our tongue and react with the chemicals and tell our brain that, oh my god, this is this and this. It doesn't have to be just one. Like usually it's a mix of different flavors, or sometimes it's just sugar, which is sweet. When I was a kid, I could put 2 teaspoons of sugar in my mouth, and that would make my day. Crazy. Okay, so that's just Parmesan cheese, and this should bring out the umami flavor in your tongue and tell your brain that this is amazing. But if you don't like it, that's also fine, because not everyone likes every flavor or every food. Because I think especially some flavors like umami is not something we grew up eating. Like we grew up eating very, I would say as a child, I would eat very basic flavors. But when you develop the sense of wanting to try different flavors, and you understand whether you like it or not. Like, instead of someone telling you that, oh, you have to eat this, but it's up to you. But the best part is that you try it and then you figure it out. And it could also be that you like something today or you don't like something today, but 10 years down, you're actually going to love it or not love it. So it's like your tongue is constantly evolving in that sense, you know. So the cheese, let's put it in and see how we feel. Oh, really nice. I don't know if you guys liked it, but it was very nice for me. Okay, we are running short of time, so I'm gonna quickly do this. This is the creme fraiche with the chili flakes, and if you're daring to try it, it's spicy, so I'm gonna have it with a chip. You can put some salt and pepper in this if you would like, but I don't know if you can taste the heat. See, I told you to hold on to it. I'm sure you ate it already. I hope you didn't dip it in the soy or the vinaigrette. I mean, it's fine. It's going in the stomach, you know, it's fine. Okay, so this one, we're gonna put in the chocolate and taste it. And please tell me what you think. Or we could dip in a strawberry. Make sure they're washed, okay? And you don't need to remove the stems because I'm gonna hold it from the green part and just dip it. Don't spoil your uniforms or dresses. This is at the back of the tongue. You get this really bitter taste from the dark chocolate. The darker the chocolate, the bitter it is. And eating it with the marshmallows and the strawberries kind of, it's because it's sweet. The marshmallow is just egg white and sugar, and strawberries are sweet. So they kind of just mellow the flavor down. So you won't feel that much of bitterness. But if you really want to give it a go and you're brave enough to do it, just taste the chocolate just the way it is. And you can see how extremely bitter it is. Well, mine is, because mine is like 90% dark chocolate, but if yours is like 50 or 60, it won't be that bad. You know, you'll survive. So, yeah, sweet and sour or salty and I don't know, like sweet and salty, because bitter in general is my least favorite, by the way. I do not like the flavor, but if you kind of mix it with like sweet things, it may actually, like sugar kind of enhances whatever it goes in. It'll enhance your sourness, it'll enhance your saltiness, but it actually brings down the bitter part. Like it'll bring it down, like it's gonna help to reduce the bitterness.
So somebody big thanks for that, Reema. It was great. And we will make this a recording that people can share with other classes in their school so people can cook along and try it. Thanks to their classes for coming. I hope you're enjoying all of the sauces now. I wonder if anybody likes the hot chili flavor. Yeah, it was great to have you cooking along, and wish everyone a happy Food and Biodiversity Week. Make sure you check out the other events on the webpage. And again, big thanks to Reema. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to be trying some of those sauces myself later.
Okay, that's perfect. Like I am super, oh, that's a cat. I am super happy and I hope the classes enjoyed and I can see you guys enjoyed as well. So that's amazing.
Brilliant. Thank you, Reema.